Here at SpaceX headquarters at Hawthorne, California. There you can see the clamp arms have begun to open. And next we should see the strong back begin to retract. This structure is what we basically use to transport the fully integrated vehicle to and from the hangar to the launch pad. And there you can see that strong back retraction has begun. Everything continue to look nominal as we're now under 3.5 minutes until launch. RP1 fuel is fully loaded on first and second stage. Should be wrapping up LOX load on the first stage momentarily and continuing to fill on second stage.
Stage 1, LOX load is complete.
We're under 3 minutes until liftoff of the Axiom-1 mission.
Dragon is in terminal count and is on internal power.
All right, there we heard that Dragon is on internal power. As I was saying, we're getting close. The crowds are growing. The excitement is palpable. You can see there on the left-hand side of your screen, Mission Control here in Hawthorne, California, just behind where John and I are. And then on the right-hand side, that looks like Axiom Mission Control.
That looks like Axiom Mission Control in Houston, Texas. Everybody's waving and saying, hey.
All right, at this point in time, that LOX load on first stage is complete. So the first stage is now fully loaded with all of its propellant. LOX load on second stage continues. As we've mentioned before,
Stage 2, LOX load is complete.
All right, so there's that call. At this point in time, Falcon 9
Dragon is in auto idle.
Dragon is fully loaded with all of its propellants, nearly 1 million pounds of that propellant.
Next event coming
gas
up
closeout has started.
right
Expect
now,
venting.
the gas closeouts. We finished pressurizing the storage tanks on board the Falcon 9. They gave the crew the heads up, and they hear some loud venting noises. We're also going to vent down the liquid oxygen line that carried the LOX up to the second stage. Generates a typical large white cloud of condensation around the strong back. Big event coming up now, T-minus 1 minute, all the flight computers take over. Let's listen in to the last minute of terminal count.
FTS is armed, Falcon 9 is in startup, and now controlling.
Dragon is in countdown.
Dragon, SpaceX, go for launch.
SpaceX Endeavour, we acknowledge, go for launch.
T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Stop. Go Falcon, go Dragon. Godspeed, Axiom-1.
Together, a new chapter begins. Godspeed, AX-1.
Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
T plus 38 seconds into this historic mission, flying crew on board Dragon and Falcon 9.
Power range telemetry nominal. Stage 1 throttle down.
Throttling down in the preparation for max dynamic pressure.
Falcon 9 is supersonic. Max Q.
Stage 1 throttle up.
Merlin 1D engines coming back up to power.
1 Bravo.
Copy, 1 Bravo.
The crew calling out 1 Bravo should a escape situation arise. It tells the Dragon flight computer what profile to fly using the Super Draco engines. But everything is looking good on Falcon 9. We're getting nominal callouts from all the engineers and a great view from the ground camera and the onboard cameras.
Invac chill underway.
Beginning to chill in the second stage turbo pump in preparation for its ignition coming up in just over half a minute from now. Coming up on about 3.5 G's acceleration for the crew. We'll begin throttling down the Merlin engines to hold that level of acceleration. Next event coming up, we're going to get main engine cutoff of
Stage
the
1
9
throttle
engines. Get stage separation and ignition of the second stage engine. You've heard the throttle down call out. We're holding 3.5 G's for the crew.
And Miko. Stage separation 2. Copy, 2 Alpha. Invac ignition.
Successful stage separation and ignition of the second stage engine. On the left, the titanium grid fins beginning to slowly deploy. Great views from the first stage camera. The first stage now begins a slow flip maneuver. You can see the white nitrogen gas plumes as we reorient for an entry back through the Earth's atmosphere a little bit later in the plus count. Second stage, we see the engine nozzle glowing red. Everything continuing to look good on the second stage. We should be hearing call outs coming up to the crew here shortly on how the trajectory is looking.
Dragon SpaceX, trajectory nominal.
It's what we like to hear.
Acquisition of signal, Bermuda.
AOS Bermuda, acquisition of signal. The Bermuda tracking station now getting telemetry from the second stage of the Falcon 9 with the Dragon on top. T plus 4 minutes, 10 seconds. Everything continues to be nominal. First stage coasting to apogee, and then it'll come back down for landing on the drone ship. Second stage, partway through its lengthy burn to get the crew into orbit. So Kate, 4.5 minutes in, everything continues to look good.
What a absolutely picture-perfect liftoff. We've got a live view of the crew inside Dragon Endeavour. Looks like everyone is still pretty comfy. As John had said earlier, we got
Dragon
to a...
SpaceX, trajectory nominal.
All right, good call out there that trajectory is nominal.
Endeavor, we copy.
As John mentioned, we got to about 3.5 G's there.
Acquisition of signal, New Hampshire.
On the left-hand side of your screen, we can see the first stage as it is making its way back down to Earth. It's targeting a landing on our drone ship, a Shortfall of Gravitas, which is parked a couple hundred miles off the coast of Florida out in the Atlantic Ocean. Second stage on the right-hand side, everything continues to be nominal there, as the MVAC engine is powering the second stage and Dragon Endeavour to its targeted drop-off orbit. Absolutely beautiful views of both the first and second
Dragon
stages.
SpaceX, trajectory nominal.
SpaceX Endeavour, we copy.
All right, so coming up in about a minute and a half, the first stage will execute the first of 2 burns required for today's landing attempt. At about T plus 7 minutes and 30 seconds, we'll see the entry burn begin. That's where the first stage will ignite the center engine first, and then a couple seconds later, ignite 2 more engines, so a total of 3 engine burn, which will last about 29 seconds. The entry burn slows the vehicle down significantly as it re-enters back into the Earth's atmosphere. The first stage sees high drag, which scrubs roughly 70% of that velocity by the time that the landing burn begins. Stunning view where you can see the curvature of the Earth there on the left-hand side.
Dragon SpaceX, trajectory nominal.
SpaceX Endeavour, we copy.
There you can see the nitrogen gas thrusters. So that's the puff of gas that you see there occasionally. That's used for attitude control systems. We also utilize those grid fins that you see. There are 4 of them placed around the booster. And those grid fins also help steer for a precise landing, either at
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
Stage 2 flight
All right,
termination.
there we can see that that entry burn has begun. We are targeting a landing on our drone ship, a shortfall of gravitas today. Everything continuing to look nominal with trajectory and MVAC performance there for our second stage on the right-hand side. So we are conducting the entry burn. Previously, the booster was...
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
That entry burn helps slow the booster down. It was going about 25 times the speed of sound. So we slow it down as it re-enters the dense part of the Earth's atmosphere. The next event is second engine cutoff, or SECO-1, as you see it there on the timeline at the bottom of your screen.
Stage 2 internal guidance.
That's where we shut down the MVAC engine, or second engine cutoff.
Shannon.
Copy, Shannon.
Stage 1 transonic.
Note that our landing burn and second engine cutoff will occur about the same time.
shutdown.
All right, we got a live view of the crew inside Dragon Endeavour there on the right-hand side of your screen.
Stage 1 landing burn.
Landing burn has begun for the first stage.
Dragon SpaceX, nominal orbit insertion.
All right, great news there. Dragon Endeavour, nominal orbit insertion.
SpaceX Endeavour, we copy, and it's great to be here. 0G, and we feel fine.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy.
SpaceX Dragon launch skip system disarmed.
As you can see, this Falcon 9 has landed for the 5th time. All the while, great
Stage
commentary
1
there.
landing confirmed.
While we can confirm the landing,
Signal Newfoundland, and also signal expected Cape.
confirmed landing there of the first stage booster. Also, almost simultaneously, great news for the second stage. We heard that there was nominal orbit insertion for Crew Dragon Endeavour. There you can see a live view inside our Dragon. Looks like the crew is beginning to adjust to 0G. And if you look at the right-hand side corner, it looks like we can see the 0G indicator. First taste.
Yeah.
Oh, it has ears. Oh, it's a bunny.
It
Is
looks
that
like a bunny.
Thumper?
I think it might be.
I think that's Thumper from Bambi. Love it. So right now, the second stage is basically preparing for Dragon separation. The next step now that, as we said, Dragon has nominal orbital insertion, the second stage and Dragon will separate. Views there of MVAC engine now shut off, no longer glowing that lovely shade of orange. Right now, the second stage is about 200 kilometers above Earth. Preparing now for stage separation, excuse me, for Dragon separation. For those of you that have just recently joined us, we had an on-time liftoff of the Axiom-1 crew. They are now in space and coming up to separation from second stage, at which point they will then begin to make their journey, continue their journey to the International Space Station. The view that you're currently looking at is inside the Dragon trunk, which, as you can see, has just separated from the second stage.
Dragon separation confirmed.
On behalf of the Falcon 9 team,
Thanks, Alan.
welcome
It's
to
good to be
space.
here.
Thanks for flying Falcon 9. Guys, enjoy your trip to that wonderful space station in the sky. Do some great research for us. We'll look to see you back here underground. Now stand by for some words from LD.
And MLA and the rest of the crew Endeavor, glad we got to have some fun this morning. We'll probably be calling an early weekend over here at the Cape. Pass you over to Anna and the team. You'll be in good hands. Godspeed, Endeavor. Enjoy the rest of your flight. Cheers.
Hey, Mark, it was a lot of fun. I venture to guess we had a little bit more than you did. We thank you and your launch team, Girth, you and the Falcon 9 team. It was a hell of a ride, and we're looking forward to the next 10 days.
All right, some nice words there from a couple of key folks. Our first Quindar tone of the mission.
Yeah. I queued up right when I heard that.
There we
And
can
expected loss of signal, Bermuda and New Hampshire.
There we can see Dragon Endeavor on its way to the International Space Station. It has separated. There's a view
Dragon
inside.
SpaceX, we had nominal dehumidifier activation and service section Draco checkouts.
There we can see over the shoulder of
SpaceX Endeavor, we copy, okay?
over the shoulder. Previously, Commander MLA was on the left, and pilot Larry Connor was on the right. Live view inside the cabin. They just got the okay to lift their visors.
All right.
All right. So we can see that everyone is in space.
Yeah.
We can see that zero-G indicator floating around. Great view there of Dragon Endeavor. Now in space with the Axiom-1 crew on their way to the International Space Station.
Yeah, I mean, this is a day of firsts. You know, this is my first time getting to participate in a launch like this. This is a first for Axiom. I mean, this is a first for spaceflight. And it's just wonderful to see such a picture-perfect launch.
It really was.
We saw the landing, and we saw orbital or zero-G insertion at the same time. I mean, that was perfect.
Yeah.
It was wonderful to see. All right, well, as I just said, today's launch is one for the history books. So to punctuate this milestone that NASA and commercial companies are able to achieve together, we go now to Kennedy Space Center, where Megan Cruz is with NASA's Kathy Leaders.
I'm here right now with the Associate Administrator of NASA's Space Operations Mission Director. It's so great to have you here, Kathy. What did you think of the launch?
Oh my gosh, it's always like, you know, right in the bottom of my throat. I'm holding, can't breathe.
Yes.
But what a beautiful, beautiful sight.
Yeah.
So good to see it. I want to tell everybody working Artemis 1 wet dress, we're off the range. We're off the range for Axiom 1, and we can get moving. But you always want to hear the engine cut off, you always want to hear that second stage engines lighting. You always want to hear, you know, each of these stages, and we need to just keep carefully working through the different steps to get that crew there to the International Space Station safely.
Yeah. What does Axiom-1 represent? Axiom-1 and also future private astronaut missions to the International Space Station.
Hey, you know, NASA's original goal was to enable commercial industry. That was actually in our original Space Act agreement. And so here we are, you know, 60 years later, enabling that through our missions. And so I just feel like this is a culmination of 60 years of work for us. And here we are once again getting to see, and for the first time getting to have commercial, you know, private astronauts going to the International Space Station, and they'll get to see what our government, what they're calling professional astronauts doing their real work, but then also getting to do their work too. And it's another place where learning to peacefully work in space, I think, is moving us forward.
Yeah, so important. And you know, we just watched Axiom-1 lift off from that launch pad right there behind us. In a couple of weeks, we're going to see Crew 4 launch from that same launch pad. And then just right next to it, Pad 39B, we have NASA's brand new space launch system. Can you recall a busier time we've had here at the Space Coast? And how is Kennedy Space Center managing its new role as this multi-user spaceport?
So I think somebody else, Bob Cabana had this dream of a multi-user spaceport here. So I think he should be very, very proud of his KSE team, and Janet Petro and her team are obviously leading the way right now, because this is not easy to do. It's not easy to go make sure all of these people have all the capabilities, and are obviously working with our Air Force sister agency there too, and making sure that all these launches get supported in a seamless way. Just an amazing job.
Yeah, a lot of juggling that has to happen.
Yep.
So, you know, I just talked about SLS. We are looking forward to the moon with that launch later this year. You know, why is it still so important to maintain a presence in low Earth orbit when we're looking towards the moon now?
Because we still don't have everything figured out how to do things yet for the moon and Mars. And really, the cheapest place for us to see a differential gravity environment, and for the long term, is still LEO.
Yeah.
And so we've got to continue to do these long duration flights, keep doing our medical protocols, keep doing our physical protocols, keep testing out our equipment through those long duration missions. It's the only place where we can do that right now.
Yeah.
And so we still need to be able to have this kind of a test bed for us to be checking out and proving our protocols, our research, our technology, before you go put somebody in a rocket that's going to go to Mars, right? So just like always, we prepare, we get ourselves ready, and a low Earth orbit destination is a perfect place to do that.
And again, how does us fostering commercialization efforts in space, how does that free us up to pursue these other dreams that we have as an agency?
So, you know, the administrator today in the pre-mission conference, he said, you know, we right now are doing, this is our first step. We're working with a commercial company to have them come to our International Space Station. And we're learning to work together and figuring out how to work together. And this is going to be an important step for us, because moving forward, we would actually like to now be able to buy a ride and time on orbit with a commercial company to be able to have them do that. And so this is the first step of their learning from us and us learning from them. And then in the future, you know, we're going to have space station for another 8 years, but we would like by the early 2030s for us to be flipping the roles and have our professional astronauts going up and checking and doing and focusing on the research and technology we need for exploration, but allowing commercial providers to be doing the hard work of maintaining the laboratory.
Kathy, what an exciting future. I'm looking forward to seeing it, and thank you again for being here.
Thank you.
All right, back to you, Dan.
All right, hey, thanks, Megan. It is great to see the AX-1 mission on orbit. The team here with the space station are ready. We're ready to get them on board. So their journey just started. They've got about 20.5 hours until they're docked to the space station. Again, they're headed for the Zenith port on Node 2. That's the space-facing one on the very top. with that docking scheduled right now for 11:45 GMT on Saturday. That is just about 6:45.
50 years ago, we pioneered a path to the moon. The trail we blazed cut through the fictions of science and showed us all what was possible.
Very pretty out here.
Today, our calling to explore is even greater. To go farther, we must be able to sustain missions of greater distance and duration. We must use the resources we find at our destinations. We must overcome radiation, isolation, gravity, and extreme environments like never before. These are the challenges we face to push the bounds of humanity. We're going to the moon to stay by 2024.